Well, welcome back, Healthies. In today's session, we're going to be wrapping up our credit repair series by finishing with steps 3 and 4. So today we're going to look at how to submit the disputes, as well as the next step, the final step after the dispute is submitted. What's your next step? If you have not completed steps 1 and 2, this particular session may not be as beneficial to you. It's good information, but you won't be able to implement the steps until you complete steps 1 and 2, where we actually obtained our credit bureau files and we marked them for things that were inaccurate or adverse. Those were the steps taken in the previous video, credit repair series, steps 1 and 2. And so now in this particular video, we're going to look at what to do with the adverse as well as inaccurate things that are on our credit report. What's our next step? So let's get started with step 3. So here I am displaying for you the 3 bureaus. On the left side of the screen there, you will see that we have Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, which are the 3 major bureaus that we will be working with, where you pulled your credit reports from. And now you can see how to submit this information. There are basically 3 methods that we can use to submit. You can call, of course. The phone numbers are here in column 2 for you. You can also submit the forms online. And this very third method here will allow you to dispute by mail. Now, there are pros and cons to all of the different methods, and it's going to be based upon the individual as to what he or she would prefer to do. But you do have 3 different options for submitting your disputes. My preference, if I had to do this, would be to submit online. And so I'll talk about that specific method first. The reason that I would submit online is for speed and efficiency. I'm in front of a computer all day, so that's a very comfortable place for me, and it would be a natural progression to submit the forms online for me, and that wouldn't present a challenge for me over the phone versus mail. Another thing I like about the online submittal is that you would get a response quicker than you would over the phone or by mail. And if you were to submit your dispute by phone, which would probably be my second option if I couldn't do it online, the challenge I would have with a phone submittal would be the wait time. Generally, it's not a short wait time in order for you to be serviced, for them to pick up the call and it be your turn in the queue. And then you have to go through the process of answering all the questions that I'm going to be sharing with you, the questions that you're going to need to answer, as well as the information that's going to need to be provided in order to submit your dispute. And this third method by mail is going to be the slowest method. And that's because, of course, it's using snail mail versus the online submittal would save you time with that. So the snail mail would be an additional week that's required to mail the results of the investigation to you. Each bureau will conduct its own investigation based upon the information that you share of what's wrong or what's inaccurate. The way the process works is that they would contact the creditor and state your claim, state what you say is incorrect, and get the information from the creditor as to their position as to why they are showing the information as correct. And then the bureau would investigate and determine which of the 2 of you are right or wrong. And that would be the basis of their decision. Each of the bureaus would take about 30 days to conduct their investigation. At the end of those investigations, they would send you by mail. If you submitted a dispute by mail, they would send you the results of the investigation via mail, and that would take an additional 7 days in most cases, maybe a little longer. So that's another delay with the mail submittal, is that it could take a little longer based upon the US mail system. The online method would be quick because they would actually give you the results online. And that would cut out about a week's time. So you really have maybe a 30-day window before you got your answer online. And the mail would be like the dispute that you would do by mail. If you put in the dispute request by phone, they would give you the results by mail. You can opt with some of them to share your email address. And then if that's the case, they would send you the results of the investigation by mail. So those are the three different methods that you have for submitting a dispute. Again, not one is better than the other. It's going to be based on the individual, what he or she would have time, as well as the comfort level in order to do the submission. Let's now take a peek at what the information would be required to submit it. So we're going to take a look at the three forms that would be submitted if you are completing the dispute. Give me a second to switch screens here, and then we can look at the additional forms. So let's first look at the Experian dispute form. And I'm just displaying one of the forms so that you'll understand the information that's required. You do not have to fill out this dispute form by mail. This would only be used if you were going to mail it to the Bureau. If you were going to do it online, of course, you would submit it through their link online, which I'll show you again before I end the video. So for Experian, and as you can see, they tell you up front that once they receive your dispute, it's going to take about 30 days to process. So, and this is standard for all of them. It's going to take them about 30 days. And once the dispute is completed, they'll mail you your results. Again, they would send that through US mail. You're going to have to provide to them things like your name and address, social security number. So these are the things that is required for you to send with the dispute. So even if you submitted the dispute over the phone, they would give you a link to upload the information to validate your identity, as well as provide your social security number. The upload is a safe way to submit the information to the bureaus because it's their secured site that you're uploading to. That's safer than the US mail. I'd be very hesitant about sending copies of my social security number, my driver's license through US mail, because it is the mail and things do get lost. Also, that is risky with the information getting into somebody's else's hand. If I did submit my dispute by US mail, I would send it certified mail, and I would require that a receipt, someone signs for it when it's delivered. So I would pay for a signature upon delivery as well. So you definitely expense a little bit of money doing it that way. But if I had to submit the dispute by mail, I would go through the extra caution of making sure that my information wasn't going to get into the wrong hands. You also want to make sure that you're sending copies of everything. Do not submit your original anything to anyone, because that takes it out of your possession, and people are not going to be as diligent with your information as you might have been. So you want to make copies that are very clear, easy to read, and submit the copies to the bureaus if you're going to use the mail system. So let's walk through this a little bit so that you can see the information that's going to be obtained, whether you're calling in or you're submitting online. You're going to be given the same information. So we will walk through it pretty quickly. You probably already know that the first section is going to be who you are, your social, your mailing address, and any information that's pertinent to you. So this would be more of your PPI information that we've talked about. Then you would start with your dispute. So this is Experian, and one of the things that I didn't care for with the experience submittal is for those individuals who had more than 3 submittals, you'd have to print out an additional sheet because they only allow you 3 on their form, on their one form that they provide to you. I'm assuming that you can print out a additional sheet and submit additional disputes if you had them. Hopefully you only have 3, but for those who might have more, you would need to print out an additional form for additional disputes if you were going to use it by mail, because Experian only allows for 3 disputes. Let's move over now and talk a little bit about who's the next one. Let's go to Equifax. Let's see what Equifax would allow us to do. Give me a second here. I need to bring my screen down so that I can get there. Okay. This is Equifax. So with Equifax, it's pretty much the same thing that you would do with Experian. They too provide you with a link if you wanted to submit your dispute online. You could do it by using their myequifax.com link. And they would require pretty much the same information. Your PPI information would be listed at the top. You would have to submit proof of identity, again, just like you did with Experian. There's their mailing address. If there has been fraud, you would check this box here. So it's a little different than Experian in that it wants you to identify if this is specifically related to fraud. And your date of birth, social security number. What I did like about the Equifax dispute is that they would give you up to 12 dispute items if you needed it. So you could actually dispute up to 12 items on their one form that they have. So it is a little different than the one that we looked at with Equifax. So that is a plus. I guess we could probably say it's a plus in that you wouldn't need to print out anything else, but hopefully you wouldn't have as many as 12 disputes. So that's what you would need for Equifax. And our last one that we'll look at is going to be TransUnion. And let's get over to that one. Now, TransUnion is probably the simplest of the 3. In the fact that it actually says request for investigation at the top of their form. But again, like the other 2, they give you an opportunity where you can initiate the investigation online by using the link here. You could also mail it. So they're giving you an address at the end of the form, and only to mail if you wanted to mail the form in. They do tell you, please allow 3 to 5 business days for delivery. So that's after the 30 days that's required for the investigations. So that is confirming what I've already shared with you. You fill out the PPI information again, social security number, driver's license information. They were a little better than Equifax, or was it Experian, who only gave 3. This TransUnion, they give you 4 dispute opportunities. You would state the company's name, the account number, and then check the type of dispute that you're filing. If none of the boxes were applicable to you, you would click the checkbox for other and then state the reason for the dispute. And here is the numbers 3 and 4 that you could use to fill out the dispute. All right. The address again is down here in step 4 for TransUnion, and this is where you would send the dispute if you were mailing it. So that's a quick overview of our 3 bureaus and how to go about submitting a dispute. You've got your phone numbers there. You've got your links for submitting online. And I just walked over the mailing forms that you would use if you were to mail them. For those of you who are members of Pictures of Health, I have included these forms for you in our files within our Facebook group. So you could use those forms there that I've already downloaded for you and put on our Facebook page. If you're not a member of Pictures of Health, you can, I'll send you the same form simply by sending an email to healthynotperfection@gmail.com. Email to healthynotperfection@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to share the forms with you as well. Let's now talk about the fourth step of the process. What happens after you submit your disputes to the bureaus? Well, it's going to take 30 days to complete the investigation. And as I mentioned, if it's by mail, you're going to have an additional week to get those results. But you can actually get quicker results if you submit online, because you won't have the mail aspect to deal with. They would send you the results to your email address if you dispute it online, and that would definitely speed up the process. But once you get the results back, let's say that you were not pleased with the results of their investigation, that you've looked over what their decision is, and they're not going to remove the information that's on your credit bureau report, nor are they going to change it with an update to reflect in your favor. Let's go to worst case scenario and say that happens. So if the investigation finds that the information is valid and they're not going to take any action, meaning they're going to allow the error or the adverse situation to remain on your credit report, your next step is to provide documentation that proves your innocence. And unfortunately, this might sometimes involve legal counsel or bringing in an attorney to defend your position if the Bureau refuses to, let's say it's a fraud situation, and you can prove that your name is Cherie Thompson and not Sherry Thompson, who someone fraudulently posed as. If you can prove that, you have the right information, right documentation, you see that the application was submitted under a Sherry Thompson versus a Cherie Thompson, using myself as an example, then that's something that I might want to invest the legal dollars or invest the expense that's required for legal assistance in order to get something that's fraudulent off of my account. And it really depends on how much this is going to benefit you before you do make the investment. If it's going to increase your credit score, and having fraud removed off of your account would probably increase your credit score, then that's an investment that I would consider making if I were you. So always seek legal counseling. A lot of times you can speak to an attorney as on a consultation call, and that would be free to you, and you would only have to pay if you decided to engage their services. So that's basically step number 4, and that wraps up our process. A couple final tips that I wanted to leave you with. If you want a quick boost to your credit report, something that's going to give you a few extra points, you can use a new service that's Experian has. It's called Experian Boost. And this will give you credit for paying monthly bills and subscriptions to things like Hulu or your rent. There's a list of things that's listed on Experian's website. Just go to and search for Experian Boost. That's the product that they have available that will give you a quick increase to your credit score. My 23-year-old daughter, excuse my screen there, my 23-year-old daughter was able to take advantage of this because she, of course, is building her credit file, but she does have some things that she was able to take advantage of by putting down things like Hulu subscriptions, a couple of the subscriptions that she has that was able to benefit her. So that's one thing that you can do through Experian. And another tip, so I shared with you, we all use annualreports.com when we received our free credit reports, right? If you remember that, annualreports.com is how we receive the free credit reports? Well, you can only get a free credit report every 12 months through annualreports.com. So the bureaus are only allowing you one free credit report every 12 months. But let's say that you have a need, you've hired an attorney and you need a new credit report and it's within that 12-month period and you can't get a free one. You can use a service called Credit Karma. This is a free service that will give you a credit report. Credit Karma is also good because they will monitor your credit reports to make sure that no fraudulent activity is occurring. So you want to remember Credit Karma. They are a good service to keep in mind because they will give you a free credit report if you are outside of the 12-month allowance that the bureaus will give you for the free credit report. And that's going to wrap up the session on our credit repair series. I do hope this has been beneficial to you. I know that we are all at different stages within our credit journey. Some of us are in a repair stage, and some of us are just maintaining these scores that we have been able to attain. That's important too. And I would strongly encourage you that if you do not have any need for repairing your credit at this time, kudos to you. I am clapping for you. That's a great thing, a great position to be in. But to keep your finances in a healthy state, I would strongly suggest that you look at the video on healthy finances. There, I talk about how to set a budget and how to manage your credit so that you can stay out of financial trouble. Those of you who are in the experience or you are experiencing credit repair at this season of your life, don't be discouraged. Just like you didn't get bad credit overnight, you won't be able to change it overnight. But with due diligence, hard practice, and staying intentional about your finances, you can turn that around and actually begin to experience good credit again. And that's going to wrap it up for this credit repair series. I hope it's been beneficial to you. And remember, hold everyone at levels that honor you. Bye-bye.